I was invited by Nintendo and the Pokemon Company to a truly unique opportunity. I had the wonderful chance to preview Pokemon Legends ZA, inside the Eiffel Tower. Yes, I mean the actual Eiffel Tower in Paris, the Prism Tower itself, and so if you want my first impressions of this hugely anticipated title in a very unique setting, then look no further than right here. First of all, I'd like to take a moment, of course, to say a huge thank you to both Nintendo and the Pokemon Company for having me at this event. It was definitely a memorable one, and I consider myself extremely fortunate to have been a part of it. Of course, please do bear in mind that all thoughts presented here are my own, and that with this being a impressions video, the final release of Pokemon Legends ZA may have differences to that which I've experienced. We were given 4 different sections of the game to experience, which I'll go through in greater detail one by one, and I'll talk about the day itself at the end for those who are interested. The 4 sections we had included exploring Wild Zone 6 within Lumio City during the day, exploring the catching mechanics of the game and battling wild Pokemon, going into an area at night to battle other trainers in the ZA Royale and learning about the mechanics that go into climbing through the ranks in that, a promotion match against Rintaro the Waiter in a more enclosed space than the battles in the ZA Royale, allowing us to explore some of the depth that the changes to Legends ZA's battle systems provide. And then finally, a battle against the rogue Mega Victory Bell, which gave us the opportunity to see the mechanics behind Mega Evolution, how different they are from what we've seen in previous Pokemon games like X and Y and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and how boss battles like these have evolved from other Pokemon Legends games, namely Pokemon Legends Arceus. Starting with the wild area, we were given a team to explore and a variety of items to catch Pokemon and heal ourselves with. The first thing I noticed about the combat, which I dived right into with the nearest Pokemon I saw, as it's the aspect of Legends ZA I'm most curious about given its real-time nature, was that it certainly retains the freeing nature that Legends Arceus brought, whilst also expanding on it. As there's no transition from real-time to turn-based at any given point, the flow of combat feels really smooth and less fractured compared to a more traditional turn-based system. It was at this point where I took stock of how the game looks and feels to play, and on Nintendo Switch 2, I didn't see a drop below 60 FPS once in my time with the game. We weren't shown Pokemon Legends ZA on the original Nintendo Switch hardware, so I can't comment on its performance on that system, but owners of the Switch 2 will notice a big jump since Legends Arceus. I will say, however, that in a setting built entirely in one place, a Parisian-inspired one no less, I hoped that the buildings would look somewhat less flat. Given that we were in Paris for this preview, it was a shame to see that the architecture of Paris's buildings, the grates outside every window, and the shops full of goodies didn't quite translate so well here, as the windows were pretty bare and the grass and foliage on the pathways looked a little rough. It is still, however, a marked improvement in the performance department at the very least. Combat itself, as has been shown in previous impressions from events like Pokemon's World Championships or Gamescom, performs in a real-time fashion, with moves having cooldowns of varying degrees and timing being more present as a necessary skill than usual. While battling the various Pokemon in Wild Zone 6, I noticed this the hard way, certainly against an Alpha Houndoom I encountered that had the potential to rip my Pokemon to shreds if I mistimed my button presses. It's surprisingly easy to throw out a Pokemon and it immediately get attacked before performing an action, as there aren't any invincibility frames or anything when switching Pokemon, presumably to prevent abuse of the system. But because swapping Pokemon in and out is as easy as a quick button press, one can actually use this to their advantage, and retreating a Pokemon just in time to avoid an enemy attack worked better than I anticipated. Once I'd realised this, I found it significantly easier to have the Gyarados in my team perform Waterfall and other moves to take out the Houndoom. The move Twister was particularly noteworthy, as it left a damaging area that not only damaged the Houndoom I was fighting, but also a Houndour that happened to try and join in the fight as well. This was a level of dynamism that I'd never seen before in a Pokemon game, and was a pleasant surprise. Catching Pokemon in this game has some peculiarities to it as well compared with previous games. Unlike Arceus or any other Pokemon game, knocking out a wild Pokemon doesn't immediately remove them from the field. Instead, they stand stunned for a short while and grant a window for the player to catch them still. This isn't a guaranteed opportunity to catch the Pokemon, as I discovered when the person playing next to me caught the Alpha Houndoom we'd been fighting and I didn't, despite trying more than once, but it's definitely a difference players will want to take note of and experiment with in terms of catch rates themselves on the full launch. Before we move on and start talking about the nighttime section of the demo, I should also point out a discovery I'd made that while battling, if the time ticks over from day to night or vice versa, the game cancels the fight you're currently in and the enemy is restored to full HP, something I encountered while fighting an Alpha Pikachu, so be aware of the time while you're battling. Moving into the ZA Royale section of the demo, we were tasked with building up points in order to progress to the promotion match by battling against various trainers wandering around the area, and completing additional tasks to earn extra points in the meantime, which made the process a little bit quicker. Tasks included sneaking up on opposing trainers by attacking their Pokemon with specific types of moves, bringing the advantage mechanic back from Legends Arceus but with a twist. There were multiple occasions where my dealing damage with the initial advantage hit outright KO'd the opposing Pokemon, so it definitely makes a big difference when you do it. Of course, enemies can sneak up on you too, so it's important to stay vigilant and not get caught unawares. During these battles, I took the opportunity to look at how different moves operated. Some work at range, while others require the Pokemon to move close to their opponent. Some of course take longer to execute than others too, and I quickly noticed that the move Aqua Jet executed immediately, which gives a lot of weight to what would have been known as a priority move in other games, but used as a quick follow-up to a different attack, or one used to preemptively strike an opponent before their attack comes out. I'm particularly excited to see how having the full move pool available in the full game will allow for different combinations and synergies that may come out of the woodwork that we've not seen before. Third up, we fought against Rintaro the Waiter for the promotion match, which largely played out very much the same as the other battles I'd done up until this point, but one thing that I did find remarkable was the way that Protect was used by the opposing Simisear. Protect has always been an extremely popular move in multiplayer Pokemon, but not so much in single player. However, here in Legends EA, it was used against me to block my incoming attacks and temporarily stun my Pokemon for attacking it, which leads me to wonder how useful attacks like it will be in the full release and how much timing is needed to use them effectively. I did also notice at this point that using items actually has a cooldown period, much like attacks do, so players can't rely entirely on items like Revives to get through tougher matches. Finally, we came up against a rogue Mega Pokemon, which was newcomer Mega Victreebel. Accompanied by new character Naveen and his Ariados, we were tasked with collecting Mega Energy dropped by the boss when attacked in order to allow our own Pokemon to Mega Evolve, and deal much greater amounts of damage doing it. You also have the option to use Plus moves, which drew power from the Mega Ring to deal extra damage while not Mega Evolved, and unlike Pokemon X and Y, the games in which Mega Evolution debuted, the player can actually Mega Evolve more than once, so once the duration is run out, it's not over. Much like Legends Arceus, both bosses, like the Rogue Mega Victreebel and wild Pokemon, can attack the player as well as their Pokemon, and can knock you out to remove you from the fight, so being able to dodge roll and avoid attacks is necessary to progress. Though one thing I did notice that I was less keen on in the game is that while you can dodge enemy attacks yourself, you can't command your Pokemon to do the same. So for example, during the fight with Mega Victreebel, it throws out these large puddles of poison that the player's meant to dodge, which is all well and good until I notice my Gardevoir start running right through the poison I just avoided to get itself in trouble, which isn't an ideal situation when I'm trying to Mega Evolve it. That being said though, I still thoroughly enjoyed the Mega Victreebel fight, and it proved to be the highlight of the entire demo for me, which takes me to the end of my time with Pokemon Legends EA at the Eiffel Tower. As for the day itself, it was honestly lovely. It's not every day you get invited to Paris for these things. I actually studied in France when I was a late teenager and have many French friends, so it was really lovely to return for something like this. C'est possible que vous ne savez pas que je peux parler français. Ma langue n'est pas parfaite, mais j'aime penser que ce n'est pas mauvais aussi. Je ne parle français non plus parce que j'ai peur de m'embarrasser quand je parle la langue. Alors je veux essayer maintenant. Pas mal, non? Oh god, I hope I got all of that right, but fortunately there were a couple of people I knew there with me too, so it was a really nice opportunity to spend time with other content creators I've been lucky to call friends on this crazy journey. And while we were at the Eiffel Tower for the event, after taking some lovely photos with Pikachu and getting a lovely Tepig plush which cements my choice for which starter I'm picking for the game, we decided we would climb up the rest of the Eiffel Tower by the stairs. Now I know I've lost a lot of weight this year, and I'm very proud of that. 60 pounds since February in fact. But my god, those stairs are no joke, let me tell you. Not something I'll be doing again anytime soon. I'm getting on guys, I'm showing my age. But after a lovely meal and discussing the game with my friends, it was back off for a good night's sleep and a long old bath, which I will always take the opportunity to do in a hotel. Love a hotel. And then back home to the UK. Genuinely, thank you so much to the Pokemon Company and Nintendo for having me at this event. It was absolutely thrilling to be a part of this. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how the final game turns out, having had a little taste of it. And if you, as the viewer, have any questions about Pokemon Legends EA or the experience that I've had with it, then please do feel free to ask in the comments. Obviously, I don't know everything and have given you guys pretty much all the information I have, but I'd love to hear from you anyway. And if you've enjoyed this video and would like to keep up with my coverage of Pokemon Legends EA and a plethora of other video games, then please do like the video, subscribe to the channel, and come find me over on TikTok and Twitch as well, where we can talk and share our love of video games together. And with that, I shall love you and leave you. So thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.